Welcome everyone, it's about that time where we go over Record of Ragnarok chapter 98. Like usual, a quick recap of the previous chapter is first in order, and if you want to skip the recap, then jump to this time on the screen or click the time code in the description. The last chapter started with Gerda's astonishment upon Siegfried imprisoned. She takes note that she's in Helheim and begins to panic upon hearing that she's specifically in Tartarus. Gerda demands to know what's going on and why Nostradamus is in Siegfried's cell. Nostradamus reveals that Odin has assigned him to be the doctor for Siegfried, allowing him to easily pass the guards. At first, Gerda is a little relieved to hear that Odin can actually be kind for once, but after thinking about it, Gerda questions why would a human do a favor for a god. She boldly looks at Nostradamus and questions if he's a traitor. Nostradamus glares at her for a second, and then he jokes that she is ruining his reputation, followed by him stating to trust him, as he'll explain later. Siegfried vouches for him, acknowledging his skills and affirming that he can be trusted. More importantly, Siegfried reveals a critical truth. Odin doesn't want him to die, and he needs Gerda's help, which is why she was brought here. Siegfried's plan is to prevent the resurrection of the primordial gods. Gerda has no idea what he means by that, but luckily Siegfried begins to provide some backstory to Gerda. Long ago, 88 primordial gods created everything, followed by many regular gods being born during that time. Amongst the primordial gods, 4 stood out for their immense power: Ymir, Chaos, Satan, and lastly, Odin. Together, they were known as the Yggdrasil group. One day, this group declared that the gods, other than the primordials, are all failures and deemed unnecessary. Driven by this belief, they initiated a genocide against the lesser gods. 7 additional primordial gods joined the Yggdrasil group, and the remaining 77 opposed them to protect the deities, resulting in a war called Twilight of Primordial Gods Ragnarok. Despite having 77 allies, the Yggdrasil proved to be too strong. With this realization, they knew defeating them was impossible. So instead, they lured the group to the edge of the world and began performing a sealing technique called Gleipnir. A black hole opens that begins to suck up the group. Izanagi cracked under the strain, and countless gods disintegrated as the sealing continued. Eventually, the Yggdrasil group and their supporters were sealed, the war ended, and the rest of the primordial gods decided to disappear. Gerda notices that this version is different from the one she had been taught. In her version, the primordial gods simply self-destructed, and the lesser gods made everything else. Siegfried assures Gerda that what he said is the true version. Adding more to this truth, just before the gods were sealed, they sensed what was happening to them. In response to this, the 4 core members left divine runes on their weapons, scattering them across the world. Odin's final words forebode a time where someone will awaken them once more. The treasures they left behind became known as the 4 treasures of calamity. Some time has passed, their existence was forgotten, until a nameless god scaled a mountain and discovered one of them, the magic sword Gram. This god was an average god with a deep, dark ambition in his heart, who came looking for the treasure through the use of his book. He reaches out, grabs the sword, and massive amounts of energy emerges. It all flows into him, popping his left eye in the process, but he perseveres and pulls out the sword. After retrieving the sword and being compatible with the divine runes of Odin, he went on to dominate the Norse pantheon. After hearing that, Gerda connects the dots, and Siegfried confirms her suspicions. The nameless god had become none other than the supreme god Odin. Lastly, we get a little panel that stated round 11 will be Loki versus Simo Hauha. Can Simo secure another win for humanity? And now that Siegfried has explained the lore, What counterplan does he have in order to stop the supreme god Odin? This new chapter kicks off with the narration stating that the divine rune of the creator god Odin had transformed the nameless god, and over time, the rune's power and wisdom allowed him to become the supreme chief god Odin. Next, Odin sees that only 2 more winds are needed, and his goal of resurrecting the Yggdrasil will finally come true. During this, we are shown Odin summoning the Gram sword from his hand in a rather disgusting way from his skin, but not only that, it's revealed that Odin already has the other treasures of calamity within his body, painting a grim picture to how close Odin is to his goal. Geir gives a quick summary of how the current Odin came to be, and Nostradamus discloses that there's actually more to the story. Thanks to the magic Gram sword, Odin was able to be led to the other treasures of calamity, allowing him to unlock the seal of the Yggdrasil. Here we learn that Chaos has alchemical bracelets called Dropnir, Ymir has a necklace called Brisingamen, and Satan's helmet is called Egil. Geir is worried that with all in his possession already, he potentially already resurrected the Yggdrasil group. Nostradamus clarifies that after doing some research, he discovered that there's more that Odin needs. Since the seal of Gleipnir is so strong, just the 4 treasures alone can't break it. In fact, 2 more offerings are required, one being the water of life and the other being the primordial vessel. Geir questions how the 2 are special, and Nostradamus elaborates that the water of life means the life energy of humans is required. Not just 1 or 2 human lives either. There's a fragment of a poem that stated, when Midgard is destroyed, the well of the Erd will be filled with the water of life, and the rumbling of the Yggdrasil will begin anew. Geir recognizes that Midgard means the human world, followed by Nostradamus telling Geir that the meaning of that part of the poem is that the life energy of all humans currently living on Earth is required. Geir is terrified to hear that humanity needs to be sacrificed. Nostradamus explains that Odin wanted humanity to be eradicated during their vote in the very first chapter. However, once Brunhilde stopped the voting process and proposed Ragnarok, Odin was really pissed, especially because humanity's fate was already sealed for erasure. He wasn't upset, not because she provoked or defied the gods, but more because she stopped his ultimate goal of getting the water of life. Geir wonders if Brunhilde knows of all this, and Zeke states that she probably does. Next, Geir questions, what is the primordial vessel? Nostradamus answers by revealing it's a god vessel with the capability to receive the runes within the treasures of calamity and the water of life itself. Once the vessel possesses the 2, he can gain the power to destroy the seal. Geir wonders who would want to become something that resembles a monstrous balloon, and doubts Odin would want to do that. It turns out that Odin can't do that even if he wanted to. Alright fellas, this might get a little complicated, so stay with me. So the Yggdrasil has their own divine runes on their treasure. The sword imbued with the heaven rune, the necklace imbued with the earth rune, the bracelet imbued with the nothingness rune, and finally the helmet imbued with the underworld rune. These runes work in similar ways to how human blood types work, as compatibility is equally important. Someone with blood type A can only accept blood from that type. The only difference is that while humans only have 4 blood types, gods have an infinite amount of blood types. Due to this, it's not normal at all for one god's divinity to be compatible with another's, and for Odin / that nameless god being compatible with the primordial god's divinity is unheard of. In fact, it's a lucky miracle that he was able to be compatible with the heaven rune. Now for the primordial vessel's case, one must be compatible with all 4 divine runes, and Odin struggled greatly to find such a god. He spent such a long time searching, and he didn't give up. He used his position of power to expand his search until, at last, he found the vessel. Upon his discovery, he took drastic actions to confine the vessel, who is a half god, half human. In order to avoid people from interfering in his plans, Odin sent him to Tartarus, making him the god of great sins. Gera registered what this means. She turns around and can't believe what she heard. Zeke confirms and says he is the primordial vessel. If the gods win, Ragnarok will be extinguished, the water of life will fill up Siegfried, and the seal of the Yggdrasil will be destroyed. To Odin, Sig is someone very important and wants to keep him well, which is why Nostradamus is assigned to be his doctor. Gera questions what would happen if Sig achieved Odin's goal. Nostradamus states that Sig would disintegrate and die fulfilling his role. The Yggdrasil will be resurrected and a genocide of gods would begin, marking the end of the world. Gera understands everything now and remembers that Brunhilde risked her life to propose Ragnarok. She was focused on achieving victory despite what others said or thought about her, all to save humanity, the gods of the heavens, and her beloved partner, Siegfried, for the sake of everyone. Gera begins to cry upon thinking of all this, and Sig can see that Brunhilde didn't mention any of this to Gera. She really had no idea Brunhilde was carrying such a heavy burden herself. However, Gera fails to understand why bring her to Tartarus and not Brunhilde. How could a Valkyrie in training help with such a crucial thing? Here, Siegfried announces that Gera is the last piece, possibly their last hope. The scene switches to Brunhilde sitting on a fountain, followed by Loki appearing and asking what happened. He sits next to her and notices that it's unusual for her wanting to meet up alone with someone like him. Loki sees she's a bit hesitant and nervous. He assumes that she's here to talk about their previous conversation, dealing with her forfeiting Ragnarok in order to save her own life. He believes that she's changed her mind and was about to happily go tell Odin, but is stopped by Brunhilde grabbing his cape. She calls out to him, kneels down, and begs Loki to fight in the next match. Loki is stunned and displays a disappointed and upset look. It's here that he realizes that Brunhilde would really go through such lengths to save Siegfried. Brunhilde replies that she must and reiterates that she must win the next match no matter what. Even more visibly upset, Loki asks if Brunhilde really wants to kill him, and Brunhilde says that the next battle she will choose a warrior who can defeat him, which is why she's begging him to go next. Loki retaliates and reminds her that he will not be defeated. Brunhilde simply replies, "Of course," and Loki understands her proposal. He decides he'll go next if that's what she really wants. Immediately, Loki says he was joking about accepting her proposal, as it was always decided that he would be the next fighter anyway, all while he conjures up a rose in his hand. He continues stating that she should not act so serious and be more relaxed. Lastly, he asks her not to bow her head to him as he brings the rose close to his face one last time. Loki begins to walk away, dropping the rose on the ground, with Brunhilde calling his name, but Loki keeps walking away and says his goodbye, leaving us with Brunhilde thanking Loki so much. Shortly afterwards, we jump to Loki in his room laughing, and comes to reality that he sees how Brunhilde is doing things. He really understands that she truly is going to kill him in order to reach Odin. He lays on the floor with the Brunhilde doll in the background and begins to laugh more and more maniacally as he grips the floor. The laughing becomes more and more psychotic as he starts to slice up everything in his vicinity, along with laughing while tears are running down his face, highlighting him crashing out. After everything settles, Loki coldly states that he will murder her. Next is a quick jump to Anubis, who is happy and hyped because it's his turn next, as he makes his way to confirm that with Zeus. Zeus tells Anubis that a guy went to fight in the next round without anyone's permission, and Anubis gives a baffled expression, asking what could he mean. Here we are shown on Zeus's phone that Loki has locked himself in as the next fighter. On humanity's side, Brunhilde is selecting the next fighter and asks Loki for forgiveness, as she's doing this for Sieg's and humanity's future. The fighter she's selecting believes he's the only one who can defeat Loki, heaven's slyest and tricky god. Despite only being human, he has earned the title the White Death, and his portrait appears in the background. We jump to another area where it's revealed the 12th Valkyrie, Rodgrid, is searching in the woods for her match fighter. She brings a picnic basket with her, sets down a blanket, and has a picnic for herself as a break. Some time passes as she enjoys nature and the animals in the area, until a dog and a shadow figure appears. He asks if they have a meeting, and the Valkyrie is surprised because she didn't even notice his presence. She introduces herself as the 12th Valkyrie and shall accompany him in battle. The fighter is set to go, does a salute, and is ready to protect the fatherland, revealing it to be Simo Hauha, the White Death, who will be humanity's fighter for round 11, bringing this wonderful chapter to a satisfactory conclusion. Holy fucking shit. Ever since my last video asking y'all to join the Fry Army, y'all certainly came in fucking droves, which is wonderful and thank you very much. But brothers and sisters, we must lock in. While some in the army will become captains, I will soon be selecting my elite Stern Ritters, and together we shall fulfill the prophecy that goes like this.
The confined French fry warrior regains his pulse after 900 subscribers, his mind after 990 subscribers, his strength after another 9 subscribers, and upon the 1000th subscriber, the world will know of his powerful YouTube content.
Alright, so next is our discussion. Loki brother, this chapter had me hurting for you. Like, put this in perspective real quick. You got a girl you like, you want her to be safe and all of that. One day she approaches you and asks if you can offer up your life for her cause, and part of that cause is for her boyfriend that's currently in prison. I know that's a shitty example without the context, but this is to highlight how bad Loki got done. Not only that, but Brunhilde is 100% sure that he will die this round, as it seems Simo is a great counter to Loki. Worst of all, you can see it in his face as he accepts the reality that she needs him dead. Now of course, Brunhilde doesn't enjoy this either, as she's willing to show that this hurts her as well. With Heracles, she kept it under wraps until the round ended, but with Loki we can see that she's tired and upset that she has to ask Loki of this. Loki did try to ease her mind as a final act of kindness by playing it off as a joke, but I truly think he decided to accept her proposal in that moment, and this is literally supported when Zeus said that Loki didn't even consult to him about going next. And obviously, Brunhilde caught on to this, but she still thanks him for doing this for her. Finally, between these two, I love the black rose symbolism that Loki created. Black roses often symbolize new beginnings and rebirth, but it can also symbolize the end of a relationship, mourning, or a time of a significant change. When Loki conjured up a rose and takes one last look at it, it's basically him saying goodbye, his final goodbye to his relationship with Brunhilde, and possibly his feelings for her. Notice once he throws it away, he accepts how things are and goes to move on. Clearly he mourns about how things turned out, and he does this by laughing maniacally. Finally, he's made a significant change in his mind, showing rebirth and sadly, it's one of murderous intent for Brunhild. Unless he was possibly referring to someone else, like Zeke, potentially. Speaking of poor Loki, poor Anubis, man, he's up there with getting cucked with Shiva. I'm surprised Anubis didn't also crash out upon hearing this. Now, for the whole Odin deal, Izanagi, the more I'm hearing about these stakes rising, the more I'm wondering, why aren't you coming forward to say anything? Like, Odin apparently is so close to winning because he already has all the treasures residing in him. He has the vessel being Siegfried, which we didn't get any clarification on why him as opposed to anyone else. Quick note, while editing, I noticed that somehow Zeke also got Odin's Gram sword and used it to kill Fafnir. So I guess once he saw that Zeke could wield his Gram sword, he felt that he was the perfect vessel. Plus, if Zeke is supposed to be the vessel for the Ward of Life and the runes, then does that mean Odin will attempt to possess his mind or mind control Zeke to break the seal? Because I don't imagine Siegfried willingly breaking the seal just because he now has the means, unless he turns out to be a villain later on. However, we did get clarification on the requirements Odin needs, and one of those is the Water of Life, being the life energy of all humans, which clearly explains why he was down to eradicate humanity during the votes and why he now desperately wants to win Ragnarok. Bro, I'm not gonna lie, I could see why Odin would be livid with Brunhild, because bro was about to fulfill his goal so easily until she came and also cock-blocked him, making him tight as fuck. That's another thing. So Brunhild supposedly knew about all this, yet she didn't tell Geir everything. However, Zeke and Nostradamus both see Geir as the last piece that they need. So it makes me curious on what they truly have in store for her and how she'll be crucial in their plans. I've also seen some people express suspicion on Nostradamus and Zeke, and I don't blame them. However, I don't think both of them are evil or anything, but I do feel one of them will potentially do some traitorous shit. Finally, we got the reveal of Simo's Valkyrie, and she seems like a sweet one that would really get along with Simo, because similar to him, she also saluted upon meeting him. Simo, my boy, got that stealth mode since even a Valk couldn't sense him. That'll probably play into his abilities, and maybe he'll be able to trick Loki at certain points in the battle, like a sort of tricking the trickster or Joker type of situation. That dog though is cute as hell. Please don't tell me my little boy is gonna fight. I'll instantly jump to Team Simo. We against harming little buddies like that here. I see everyone also going insane over Simo, so for y'all's sake, I hope he wins, but I think this match is going to be very interesting, and it'll really be a battle of brains and outplaying each other using tricks and illusions. Overall though, fantastic chapter. Love this information we got. I've been loving the comments lately, and y'all always bring up some good plausible points, so please keep that up and let me know what you think of all this crazy info we got this month. Also, who's Team Loki and who's Team Simo? Don't worry, this is a safe space and a safe channel. You will not be judged. But that's all I have. Thank you all for those who subbed and liked the video. Y'all are the best ever, and I truly hope to continue making great content for everyone. Stay safe out there and be good people. Catch y'all later. Peace.